Joining us now is Okpe, whose story is trending around the world.
Good morning, Dr. Vati. How are you so happy today?
Well, I'm happy to see you.
Always happy to see you, too. Good morning, Adeswa. How are you?
Good morning. Very well, thank you. How are you, Jay?
I'm excited. Good morning to you, Rufai. How are you? I cannot hear Rufai. Well, all right. Good morning to you, viewers. We begin what's trending in Nigeria. Lagos-based lawyer and human rights activist Inibehe Effiong has filed a fundamental rights enforcement suit to challenge the imposition of a 5 million naira fine by the National Broadcasting Commission on a radio station over alleged hate speech. The radio station was found guilty of what the NBC described as unprofessional conduct over comments made by a guest of the station on August 10th. The lawyer filed a lawsuit on Monday at the Federal High Court in Lagos. He joined the Minister of Information and Culture, Alhaji Lai Mohammed, and the federal government of Nigeria as respondents in the case. The lawyer argued that abusing or insulting the government cannot be criminalized in a democracy. He contended that the expression hate speech is not defined under any written law and cannot be invoked or penalized based on the capricious expectations of the respondents. You know, I'm completely elated that he has filed this lawsuit because, you know, we've been talking about this description of hate speech. Who defines hate speech? I mean, he also prayed to the court that, you know, they have to find a way to make sure that broadcasters, commentators are given a fair hearing before a sentence like that could be, you know, administered to them. What is your take on that?
I'm all for this, like
Yes.
you say. I'm all for this. After all, laws form part of our social engineering and must be tested from time to time to ensure, you know, that they're in compliance with the apex law of the land, which is the Constitution. So my question has always been, who defines hate speech? What is hate speech? But, you know, in recent times, the Buhari-led administration has, you know, got this description that is very unsavory of being, you know, dictatorial, repugnant to criticisms. And, you know, like they say, not everybody will like you. If you want everybody to like you, you have to go and sell ice cream. People will criticize you for things you do. And people will hail you if they will commend you if they think that you're going on the right path. So this all seems like the government just does not want to listen to any criticism. If you criticize anybody, then you'll be gagged. But I'm all for this. I'd like to see the end of this.
Well, let's start like this. The true test of any law is in its implementation. And it is a welcome development to see that the revised National Broadcasting Code is now being subjected to a test. When you implement a law, because law is made for society, you will naturally expect reactions. The National Broadcasting Code originally prescribed a penalty of 500,000. Then when that was reviewed, and that review has been very controversial between the Ministry of Information and the board of the Nigerian Broadcasting Commission, and also stakeholders within the industry who objected to some of the provisions of that law. So what Inibehe Effiong has done is a very good citizen action.
Yes.
Because certain provisions in that law will now be put to the test. Now, what has triggered this is the interview granted on August 10 to Nigeria Info by Dr. Obadiah Melafia, former deputy governor of the Central Bank, where he made certain statements about the sponsorship of Boko Haram and persons involved in the sponsorship of Boko Haram. And on account of that, he was invited by the Department of State Services, DSS, and subsequently, the Ministry of Information invoked Section 3, subsection 1.1, 1.2, 1.3, and Section 3, subsection 12 of the revised National Broadcasting Code, where there is this strange provision about hate speech. And we had asked the question on this program, who defines what constitutes hate speech? Now, Inibehe Effiong, as a concerned citizen, has gone to court, the Federal High Court in Lagos. No date for the hearing has been fixed yet, but he has raised very pertinent questions. You may ask the question, is it a busybody action? is not a busybody action.
Absolutely not.
And he himself addressed that in the case that he filed. Does he have the locus? I think he also addressed that. As somebody who appears regularly on radio stations, on TV stations to make comments, he says that at a personal level, it's a derogation to his rights within the purview of the Constitution, which is the ground norm, which is the first alter ego of the constitutional order. He started 2 sections there, so he's filing the case on the basis of fundamental human rights. Section 36 of the Constitution, dealing with fair hearing. In that regard, he's saying that, look, Nigeria Info was not given the right to fair hearing. At no time were they even asked to defend themselves.
Exactly.
And that, again, is in conflict with the African Charter on Human and People's Rights. Then Section 39, again, which deals with the freedom of expression, which says you can express yourself. That has also been violated.
Yes.
Also, Article 9 of the African Charter on Human and People's Rights. So we'd like to see how the court deals with this. And it makes the claim that, look, what we're facing now is a matter of civilian dictatorship, and that is unacceptable under the constitutional order, and that revised National Broadcasting Code needs to be revised. And that has been an issue on the table. And I hope that the suit that has been filed by NBC will probably become the catalyst for a reconsideration of that revised National Broadcasting Code that has been rejected by the board of the NBC, that has also been rejected by informed stakeholders, and that has now thrown up issues of fundamental human rights that NBC has brought forward. I would like to commend them.
Yes.
And I hope that the court will rule on this matter, and we can make progress from that point onwards.
Yeah, I thought I should highlight the story because obviously, comments and opinions are very valid for a lot of reasons, And if we're going to be gagged, what's going to happen to free speech at this point? All right. Well, Rufai, I'm glad you're here with us. What is your take?
Can you hear me?
Yes,
Great.
I can hear you perfectly
Great.
now.
So for me, I'm very excited about this. And let's test the law. Let's test the law, because if we don't test the law, we don't know what applies. It's good, Dr. Bati cited the constitutional provision for fair hearing. But Dr. Bati, let me shock you. I've done radio for quite some time in my life now. Anytime the NBC gives us a fine, you don't get a chance for fair hearing. You pay the fine. What they just do is, the first offender, they give you a warning, and afterwards, if you repeat that offense, you pay the fine directly. I mean, for things like playing songs with vulgar lyrics and some other things, and some other infractions in the Constitution, in the code, NBC code. So I'm really excited about this part of fair hearing, that we can actually push for fair hearing when it comes to matters like this. And also, I also bring to this point to bear, the point about the board, of the NBC not aligning with the minister as regards the review of the code. Because I have attended a couple of NBC code reviews at some point, working on radio. And the norm is you call a lot of stakeholders in, and it's the board. There's never been an NBC code review that I've ever seen the minister, though some I have attended. It's normally the board and some other stakeholders in the media sector. So when this was pushed forward, and the fine was bumped up to about 5 million naira, I looked at it somehow. But I'm excited the board has made their comment known as regards this. So I'm all in support of this. Let's go ahead. Let's test the law. I'm excited, Dr. Bati, you talked about the fact that, so even if you put up an infraction or a fine towards the radio station, we should be able to go to court and hear a fair hearing. Because what we've always known all this while is that the NBCs are your regulators, and they can stop you from broadcasting. I mean, I'll give you a very firm, there are instances, many places in which the NBC has wielded a very big stick on broadcasters. So this edge that I know that we can actually go to court and challenge it in court sometimes when all these infractions come out. I'm excited about that, Dr. Abati.
You're all excited. Very good point, Rufai. Let's head over to Mali now. Twitter users have been reacting to the resignation of the country's president, Ibrahim Boubacar Keïta. On Tuesday, the president and the prime minister, Boubou Cissé, were arrested by mutinous soldiers who had taken up arms and staged a mutiny at the key base in Keiti, a town close to the capital, Bamako. Tuesday's events have sparked international condemnation and are likely to further destabilize the West African nation following months of anti-government mass protests and a rising insurgency from Islamist militants. Let's take some reactions. Well, we'll take a tweet from Africa Facts Zone. They posted a video on Tuesday after the arrest of the president with the caption, Mali's presidential villa has been taken over by young protesters following President Keita's arrest by the army. Let's take a look at that video. Well, that video was completely wild. Let's take some more tweets. A tweet from Moses, who wrote, after seeing what happened with Zimbabwe, this doesn't excite me and shouldn't excite anyone either. Revolutions in Africa today need to be spearheaded by ordinary citizens and not coup d'etat by the military. Julius wrote, it's good that French grips are leaving off from West Africa. However, any coup done anywhere is wrong and evil. The perpetrators must still be punished. In Ghana, it's punishable by death. I know it's worse in Mali. Even if the president was wrong, that's not the way to unseat him. You know, I mean, this situation has been rather crazy over social media at this point. Everyone is commenting on this resignation as well. You know, I mean, the president on live television yesterday said he had no choice than to, you know, step down. And I thought that was quite commendable for him to have done that. But the conversation really is the fact that, you know, this is a scary situation for the West African region in general, especially the fact that, you know, the jihadist movement is going on right now in Mali. And the military have accused the government of, you know, neglecting the soldiers, especially in their fight against the Al-Qaeda.
Yes, there were concerns about, you know, grumblings and discontent about pay for the military that has been fighting this jihadist conflict. And you'd recall that the jihadists had taken, you know, over some parts of the country, a large part of the country, if you'd like, over the years. But, you know, these videos we see, I think is a pointer to also the disconnection, the discontent, the anger the people of the country had with the kind of governance they had. We have said it that coup d'etats are unfashionable, they are condemnable.
Yes.
It's not what we want to see on the African continent, because we should be moving far away from that to democratic practices, which we're seeing increasingly on the continent with those elections that we are having, even though some will question the kind of elections we're still holding.
Yes.
But, you know, coup d'etats are definitely not the way to go.
Yeah, you should see the celebration on the streets before we come to you,
They also invaded the house of the
Abati.
president's son.
Yes.
Well, that was also looted.
Should we take that quick video on the streets to see how people in Bamako were seen celebrating on the street yesterday after the president's arrest? Can we take that video real quick? Yes. That's that video that was trending all over social media yesterday. And you could see that, you know, everyone there, you know, are just really excited, you know, in cahoot with the military. You know, Dr. Abati.
Well, the celebration on the streets of Bamako will not in any way justify what the criminals who have taken over the government in Mali have done and their violation of the constitutional order in that country.
Yes.
Now, earlier on, I had made some comments on the situation in Mali when we were taking the headlines. So this is just by way of footnote. When the president resigned, he said that he did it because he didn't want anybody's blood to be spilled. And that resonated with me because that was a line, you know, associated with President Jonathan, ahead of the 2015 elections.
Yes.
And it's good to see that other African leaders are following that line. Now, President IBK, Ibrahim Boubacar Keita, IBK for short, as he's known, he's been president of the National Assembly, he's been prime minister before, and then, of course, he's been minister, and he's also he's been president since 2013. And he's the founder of the Rally for Mali party, also known as the RFP. Now, the major complaint, the protests did not just start after his removal. The protests have been on, and the protests are about corruption, about the worsening security situation, his inability, the inability of his government to deal with the problem of the crisis in northern Mali, you know, with the Tuaregs, and also, of course, the poor economic situation in the country. But all of that, again, is no justification for the violation of the constitutional order. And I think that ECOWAS and Nigeria, because when you talk about ECOWAS, you are basically talking about Nigeria, because of the significant position that we occupy within the region, should take the lead immediately and ask for the restoration of the constitutional order in Mali. Now, ECOWAS has said Mali stands suspended from all its deliberations and protocols because of what has happened, because I do not expect that ECOWAS leaders will sit down with mutineers and coupists. But I said earlier that, ECOWAS should go a step forward. ECOMOG should be revived, and, a combined team, with Nigeria taking the leadership as usual, should be sent to Mali to flush out those coupists and to restore order and ensure that at the end of the day is the will of the people that prevails. Clearly, it's the end of the road. Well, perhaps, for President Keita, but in any case, it's important that the country moves forward. And I said earlier that I would like to commend the Nigerian government because both President Jonathan and President Buhari, they've shown a keen interest in the development in Mali because stability within the West African region is also important for national security in Nigeria, particularly as the crisis in Mali is already spreading to Niger and Burkina Faso. And Niger is just up there on top of Nigeria. So we have a strategic interest in the matter. And President Buhari had visited Mali. President Jonathan had been an envoy there. We will have our own difficulties, but Nigeria should not hesitate in taking the lead role in putting an end to the reign of impunity that we are now witnessing in Mali.
Reign of impunity. I like that word. ECOWAS has been ignored. I mean, they have been intervening. Rufai, what is your take on this story?
All right, I'll refer you to a book written by a Ghanaian professor called Professor George Ayite. He wrote a book called Defeating Dictators in Africa and in general. And it's obvious that if you read that book, that we don't learn. Between 1960, independence, where most African countries got its bread, to 1919, Africa has had well over 100 coups. So that's about 2-3 coups per country. But how does it end? A military leader comes in, ruins the economy of the country even more. The people suffer, retrogresses their life, and they go back in time and nothing is achieved. That's exactly what is playing out in Mali. I'll give you an instance of Guinea. What happened in Guinea in 2008? A man called Camara came in, took over power, got in, was leader, killed the citizens that he said he was going to protect. Same thing happened in 2012 in Mali. Amalu Tumali Touré was deposed. The head of the military then was a guy called Sanogo. A lot of atrocities. Now, it's happening again. When are we going to learn that coups are not the way to settle our impasse in Africa? I don't know when we are going to learn it. The people need to rise up. We need to strengthen our institutions. And when you look at the economic viability of this country, you are surprised. Mali is dead poor. Guinea was the country I was talking about that their GDP is $10 billion and China gave them a loan of $20 billion. Guinea is in problems for life as regards economics. So when are we going to learn that coups are not the way? It only complicates matters. I'm excited about what the African Union has done. Nigeria should step in, every country should step in and flush out those nonsense people that are throwing Guinea backwards. The youths are celebrating, but they don't know that that act is setting Guinea backward. No matter how terrible it is, the best military government can never be as good as the worst democratic government. Democracy and due governance is needed across Africa. Coup is not the way to go. Men in khakis, those are not the way to go. We should institute something now. People should fall into Mali and make that country sane again, restore sanity to the country largely, and let's start to explain to ourselves in Africa that coups are not the way to go. They only complicate matters in the long run.
Well, let me add this by way of footnote. Now, in 2012, when Mali had that problem with Amadou Toumani Touré, Nigeria got involved in the process. I remember that we visited Mali about twice. We met with members of the parliament. So the lesson from that for Nigeria, I said Nigeria should take the lead in intervening. We must be strategic this time around because when we did and helped to stabilize Mali at that time with a lot of resources, with a lot of time, President Jonathan going up and down and meeting with all the stakeholders. Do you know that at the end of the day, Mali gave the credit to France?
Yes.
And we were not happy about that. France, yes, also has a strategic interest in Africa. And President Macron has already spoken to a number of African leaders, including the president of Senegal. Now, in terms of strategy, are we going to work together with France going forward so that Nigeria doesn't put in all of these efforts and then the people of Mali, the government of Mali will turn around again and offer us the short end of the stick? There is another side to that story, but that's not for television.
Yeah,
at the end of the day, we try to resolve the matter at that time.
All right, let's take another story over in the United States. President Donald Trump on Tuesday lashed out at former First Lady Michelle Obama after she described him as a wrong president for the country during her Democratic National Convention speech. Well, let's take a quick listen to what Michelle said before we take Donald Trump's reaction.
Let me be as honest and clear as I possibly can. Donald Trump is the wrong president for our country. He has had more than enough time to prove that he can do the job, but he is clearly in over his head. He cannot meet this moment. He simply cannot be who we need him to be for us.
Well, in response, Donald Trump raged in a series of tweets that Michelle Obama's support of Biden was merely an afterthought. His first tweet read, "Somebody please explain to Michelle Obama that Donald J. Trump will not be here in the beautiful White House if it weren't for the job done by your husband, Barack Obama. Biden was merely an afterthought, a good reason for that unenthusiastic endorsement." At the White House event on Tuesday, the president called Michelle's speech extremely divisive. Let's take a listen.
She was over her head, and frankly, she should have made the speech live, which she didn't do. She taped it, and it was not only taped, it was taped a long time ago because she had the wrong deaths. She didn't even mention the vice presidential candidate in the speech, and, you know, she gets these fawning reviews. If you gave a real review, it wouldn't be so fawning. I thought it was a very divisive speech, extremely divisive.
I mean, that was a punchline for me. I mean, he basically dragged Michelle Obama for commenting that she did not mention Kamala Harris in her speech. I mean, I thought that was really very low of Donald Trump.
It was a very childish response from the president. And to think that that event at the White House was to honor women.
Yes.
100 years after women were able to vote in America, and then he chose the jab. It was just wrong. I mean, he didn't speak to the issues. She talked about many things, including coronavirus, including you not being right for the job, and that was his comeback. That was
Donald Trump to do that.
Well, should anyone still be surprised about President Donald Trump?
I don't think so.
I mean, I think we're beyond being shocked
Yes.
About the President of the United States. Now, he made the point that the endorsement of Joe Biden is an afterthought for the Obamas. But of course, that is not true.
It's not.
If you fact check it, that is not true at all. And President Obama himself has consistently supported Joe Biden and has also supported Kamala Harris in this race for the presidency of the United States in the year 2020. And of course, the point that Mrs. Obama made about Donald Trump being the wrong president for America at this particular time. I guess it's a point that is, shared by many, not just Americans, but also persons around the world.
It resonates.
Okay, but all of this, of course, is the rhetoric of election time.
Yes.
You do not expect that, Michelle Obama will promote Donald Trump in any way. And you do not expect that Donald Trump will take any kind of attack on him and his candidacy is lying low. But I guess that at the end of the day, what is important is the American people taking a decision on November 3 and taking an informed and wise decision, despite all the controversies over postal voting and process and all of that.
The economy.
Well, thank you very much,
Thank you, Dr. Bati.
So we'll see you again
We'll see you tomorrow. You're doing well.
Yeah.